Hello, many blessings, and welcome to another episode of Brujo 101, which is Witch 101, Witchcraft 101, all things Brujo. I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Thanya.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am fantastic, and we have a special guest with us, the homie, Helena.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for joining us, dude. It's been a long time. I hadn't seen you in a minute.
It's been a while. Yes, it has. Thanks for having me.
How's your quarantine?
It's been homely.
Homely. All right.
It's been homebound.
It's been homebound.
Dude, we met like how many years ago? Almost a decade ago?
Yeah, almost 10 years ago. And
there's been so many... I think both of us have gone through so many transformations in that time. This podcast that you're joining us on is we talk all things spiritual, and I think a lot of times people confuse spirituality with religion and being beyond holier than thou. You know, don't smoke weed, don't do this, don't do that. I'm a pot smoker, and I know that you are.
I'm a pot smoker.
Yeah.
Very regularly.
And you make no qualms about that.
So
None
the
at all.
minority at this table.
It's all good.
I'm not a pot smoker.
We don't judge you.
But I think whatever you want to do is on you, you know? But I do think that people think that when you're some kind of religious, you're like, don't do that.
Right.
Don't do
There's
that.
all these rules and stipulations.
A lot of rules. For me, I think marijuana is a very spiritual herb, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It kind of connects you in a way. And I feel that it has a mother spirit behind it.
A mother spirit?
Yeah, it has a female spirit, I think.
Why do you say that?
Just the way that it interacts with us. I feel like a male spirit attached to it would have more of like a dominant effect. Well, maybe the sativa is like the female and the indica is like the male. I'm not sure, but I just feel it has a very loving, delicate, like wholesome, hugging spirit that's attached to it. It embraces you like a mother.
Spoken like a true pothead. You romanticize.
I was like, that sounds so nice.
It sounds so.
Somebody
oh my
give
God.
me a joint.
I'm a mama's boy.
I was like, okay, sign me up.
and you sold that shit like I'm like, oh, she's got backup for this, and then you said, I think, and I'm like, oh, okay, well that's fair.
Yeah.
So my years
that's how it is.
of research.
And use.
There you go.
And use. No, I do. And look, and there's people that just do it because they want to do it. It relaxes them. So whatever your reason is, I don't think you need an excuse to do it anymore. It was vilified for so long. But anyway, beyond that, I think there's different ways and there's different herbs to tap into spirituality. I follow you on social media, and you've been very vocal. Like, I've been on a journey. I'm not as vocal as you as on my journey, on my spiritual growth and exploration. I stay posting, you know. I mean, I think my last post is about how we're sending like millions of specimens of jizz to the moon. You know what I mean? I'm jizzing on the goddamn moon. I'm cream pieing the moon on my social media, which doesn't take away from my spirituality, but I don't share a whole lot of the other experiences that I have. You, on the other hand, are very open. Yes. About the things that you've been going through. And one of the things that I'm really curious about is, and how do you pronounce it? Combo or Cambo? Combo. Yes. I'm really, like, the first time I ever heard of it, to be honest, is when you posted about it.
Oh, great.
And this was, I think, over a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago.
It's been that long, right?
I want to say it's been a little bit over a year, yeah. Because I first started Combo, was it 2019? I want to say like in the summer, 2019.
Okay, so we're like at 2021, so coming up on 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years. Yeah.
Do you know? Are you familiar with it?
I know that it comes from like a toad or a frog.
It comes from an Amazonian green tree frog. Yes. So giving it some background and a little bit of color. Basically, it's from the Shipibo tribe. It's an indigenous tribe,
Shipibo.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not pronouncing it correctly.
And this tribe exists where?
In Peru.
Peru.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So this tribe was indigenous to the Amazonian, and they basically would get this tree frog. And this tree frog, it extracts this type of venom that's on its back. So it secretes this venom as soon as it gets scared or it's alert or it feels like it's in danger. So they took the secretion on the back of this tree frog and they applied it to their skin. They made a burn, and then they applied this venom. And they noticed the effects that were starting to happen after this venom was applied. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say it's a pleasant experience, because it can be unpleasant, because as soon as the venom is applied to your skin, it goes directly to your lymphatic system, and you start to puke.
It's fucking
You purge.
venom.
Yeah, it's venom. So
hold on. You said they make a burn. Do they burn you and then put it?
yeah. So they make points on your arm. Like I have certain entrance points.
Oh, shit.
So
Okay.
each point is basically an entrance for the medicine, and then they apply the medicine.
So for the people that can't see that, it looks like you have a bunch of like that Mexican vaccine where you get where you get the vaccine and then
Or
you get that.
like an indigenous tattoo almost.
Yeah,
right?
it looks like a tribal tattoo.
Like a tribal tattoo?
Yeah, yeah. So they put the medicine on, and immediately you start sweating. Your body temperature goes up. And then you start purging. But it's almost like a purge where you're sitting there. You know how, like, say, for instance, if you're hungover and it's, like, stuck and you're like, just come out. So you're just kind of, like,
When you
dry
say purging,
heaving.
what do you mean? You're like throwing up?
You're throwing up. So some people purge out the other end, but it just all depends on the person's system. But for the most part, you're purging out of your mouth.
Are you doing this by yourself? Is it you and one person, or you and a group of people?
A group of people usually, but there's a practitioner who is trained. Like my first combo experience was at 8th Chakra Studio in Santa Ana, and it was at I want to say it was a ceremony of about 10 people.
You said eight chakra?
8th Chakra.
8th Chakra.
8th Chakra Studio in Santa Ana. That was the first time I had combo, and it was.
Now, how did you hear about it?
I heard about it through a friend, and it's funny because she was dating this guy she met on a dating app, and she says that this guy
God bless Tinder. God bless
she met
Tinder.
this guy on Tinder, and
You ever had frog poison?
So want to get a drink, or you want to go get some frog poison?
Right. You wanna
Are
get
you
some frog
freaky? Are you
poisoning?
down?
are you with it or not? But yeah, so she met this guy, and I guess he would go and he would do combo once a month, because what it does for men is it increases their testosterone levels.
Oh, shit.
So after combo sessions, I guess this guy would just go to town on her. So I was wondering, I was like, well, what is this? And I started to do more research. I went through more YouTube videos, and the curiosity opened from there. And for females, it doesn't kind of increase our estrogen, but it does give us a different type of appearance. Like it makes our skin smooth. It changes our pheromones. So if we're around men, like say 2 days after a combo session, he's going to want to get a little closer to us. It just changes our aura.
Sounds like
our
fucking
auric
ecstasy.
field is cleansed, so we appear to be different. Our skin, the way we interact with others, they can just sense it, right? So going a little back, the Shipibo tribe, they would use this medicine to hunt. So it's basically good for all of your senses. So they would use this to sharpen their hunting skills. The women would use it to attract a partner.
Was it used the same way it's used now? Like, is that the traditional way to like they're burning themselves? They're
Yeah,
putting it on?
to be honest, I'm not exactly sure, but I believe that is the only way that you can get it into your system, because you can't ingest it.
Right, because it'd
How
be too
in-
much.
No.
It'd be too much.
Like, what were these people thinking? Like, not shitting on it, but like, what's going through your head when you're like, you know what? Gotta burn your, like, did they try it another way?
The
And
same-
nothing happened. How are we gonna ingest this
the
freaking
same
poison?
thing
Like,
the
you know what I
guy
mean?
who milked the cow thought.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean,
Yeah.
who's
Like
been-
maybe I should put this on my skin and then it's going to cause me a barf, but I'm barfing, but oh, this is a good thing. You know,
yeah, they had to have seen, because it paralyzes, in the frog, it paralyzes their enemy, right? Like,
it does.
okay.
It does.
Yeah.
And kind of a sense, it kind of paralyzes us. Well, I mean, you can move, you can function when you have the combo medicine, but you feel so sick. You feel so like almost at your lowest peak of energy.
How long does the thing last?
I want to say for a good 20 minutes.
Wow.
20 minutes.
That's quick.
It's quick.
That's
I mean,
quick.
I feel like it's a long time.
Relatively
It is a
quick.
long time. When you're in the moment, when you're actually in it, it feels like, oh God, when is this going to end?
Yeah.
But after it's done, you just feel like this sense of euphoria, like this relaxing feeling. And then when you go to sleep, when you wake up the next day, you're so charged, you're so ready to go and get at it. It just increases your energy to a point where it just resets things. So if you're feeling like sluggish, if you're feeling lethargic, you go on and do a combo session, you're going to be like a tank the next day.
Those 20 minutes, are you sick the entire time? Are you nauseous? Are you in pain?
Is it different? Like, was your first time, I'm super sick. Second time, I'm like not so sick.
Every time is different. Like, I have a session tonight and I'm kind of scared. I'm nervous going into it every time because you don't know how the medicine is going to interact with you.
How often do you do it?
I try to do it every 3 months.
Okay.
When I need a reset, like I've had some heavy stuff that I had to process recently. So I was like, I need a reset. I need to cleanse my auric field. And this is going to jumpstart it for me.
So people don't usually know what an auric field is. You might want to explain what that is. Like, you could call, like, I'm nodding, but
Yeah.
not everyone's going to know the terms you're using. So
Okay. So an auric field. So if you stick your hand out and your arm, you stretch it out, it's basically the energy all the way to your arm. It comes in different colors. I'm just trying to figure out like the best way to explain it. It's dealing that your auric field is basically your magnetic field. It is a field of energies that surround you and to you only. It's specific to you only. So everyone is walking around in these energy bubbles per se. So these energy fields cannot be seen with the naked eye, but if you sit in the mirror and you have a really bright light on, you can almost see your auric field. You can almost see the colors. So it has to do with your chakras. And you don't have to be high to see these things. So it's basically your energy space, and it's all particular to each person. So if you have a auric field that says that's really dark, or you have a lot of blockages, then it's not going to be as white. It's not going to be as clear. It's going to be maybe a darker color. Maybe like a dark green or a dark purple. It's not going to be so transparent. So you want to have a clear auric field. So it's basically tying into your energy and how the energy runs through your body, your different chakras.
that's what some people also call it, the rate at which you vibrate.
Right. The rate at,
Right.
yeah, what you vibrate at. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, you started doing this, let's say, a year and a half ago. So how many times have you done the treatment?
I want to say, well, tonight's going to be my 8th ceremony.
Whoa. And you're calling it a ceremony.
Yeah, it's an actual ceremony. You go in, you set your intentions. They start off with hape. Have you ever heard of hape? So hape is an indigenous Peruvian medicine, Amazonian medicine as well. And you sniff it, like you sniff it in your nose. And you do it through a keropi pipe. So it's almost like, and I hate to say this, like you're sniffing coke or something.
Don't hate to say it. That's where my mind
that's
went.
how
I'm like,
that's exactly.
motherfucker, you're snorting coke. It comes from Peru.
Right. So it basically, like, it's synergy. It gets you prepared for the medicine. So you set your intentions of how you want to work with the medicine, what you want the medicine to do for you. Do you want it to reset you? Are you dealing with some trauma that you want it to kind of clear up for you? Like, what are your intentions? So you go in there, and a lot of times I feel like the intentions I set are not necessarily what I get. Because sometimes I'm praying to the spirit, because there's a spirit behind each medicine that you're dealing with. I feel like combos are more of a masculine energy. So I'm going in there and I'm like, please be gentle with me. And Combo's like, nope.
Not today.
Not today.
Yoshiro say, shut up, bitch.
Shut up, bitch. I'm going to give it to you today. Also depends on how many if you have a lot of toxins, if you do a lot of drinking, you eat a lot of processed foods, you don't do a lot of clean eating, you're going to have a lot of purging, because it's going to bring up bile. So you'll see these little bubbles that come out. They kind of look like
He goes
they
kind of and I'm like,
they kind of look like boba. That's what it looks
oh,
like.
Heck
This
no.
is coming out of you.
Yes, so you're
Okay,
purging that bile up.
Let me ask
That
you.
thought already made my like face hurt.
Throwing up is very painful. And when you get to the last of like, there's nothing left and you're still going, your abs are just killing. Like, you know, like you described it with like a hangover. I've had plenty of those.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty
relating.
of.
He's
I've had
relating.
plenty of
He's
purging,
relating.
and it is extremely uncomfortable. But what you're describing after the fact here, how many, like in those 20 minutes, just a typical time, and I know it's different every time, but if you've never had it done and you walk in there and you're in the ceremony, how much of those 20 minutes are you spending throwing up?
I would say, okay, based on my last experience, I was throwing up 4 times. But you kind of know when you're done because you get that last throw up out and you're like, ugh, all right, it's all out. And you know that's the big one. The big one, the last one's coming. So
now that's your body,
I love her
obviously.
just smiling through all this. She's like, I puked 4 times. It was great.
and it's clearly it's your body purging itself of this poison, of this venom.
Right. Oh,
but
right.
but then everything else that's in there is also coming out for the ride, right?
Right. So if you have a lot of negativity, like say for instance, your chakras are all blocked up, right? You got blockages everywhere. So the medicine's going to work through those chakras and pull that energy, that negative energy in that vomit.
Now,
so that vomit is going in that bucket with that negativity.
Just to play devil's advocate here, would somebody say, nah, bitch, you ain't doing shit to your chakras. That's just your body getting rid of the fucking poison. There's no other benefit to it. How do you know that it's cleaning those chakras?
Well, I mean, that's like the placebo effect. If you believe it, so it may be. I mean, if you don't believe it's going to work, it's not going to work.
That's fair.
So then I have to ask you, do you fast before you do this? Because I would
Yes,
totally fast.
yeah, you don't want to
wouldn't
go
wanna
in
puke.
and like wolf down like a double cheeseburger
Yeah.
at In-N-Out and then
Right?
like go
Like-
do combo because it's going to be a bad experience for you, especially because the acid is going to burn your throat. So you want to kind of do something like grains and vegetables, fruits and whatnot, something that's not too acidic because you don't want to burn your throat or your esophagus.
Yeah, I would fast. I'd be like,
Yeah, it's good to
make it
fast.
as easy for myself as
Yeah,
possible, right?
it's good to fast before and after. And one thing about combo, now I wasn't really into healthy eating as much. I mean, I was aware of it because I grew up in a conscious household, so we kind of like laid off the pork, laid off this, laid off that. So I kind of understood what healthy eating meant. But up into combo, once I started actually practicing more with combo, doing the medicine, my diet started to change. It's like your body doesn't want Snickers and French fries anymore. It's like your body will reject it. You won't even have those appetites, like the palates in your tongue.
Craving.
Your taste buds starts to change. So you're not even going to want to desire bacon. Like I feel like I haven't been eating as healthy as I've been eating before, but now that I'm going to have a ceremony tonight, I'm like, great, now I can get that reset and get my butt back into the swing of things where I was before.
And that was actually, you pretty much answered part of what I was going to ask you next, which is you've done this 8 times. Other than you being more aware of your food choices, what else has changed? You've trimmed down quite a bit from one of the last times. You've been losing weight for a while.
Yeah, I've been losing, yeah.
But you've trimmed down significantly. How has the combo affected your life other than your food choices? What else? What other changes can you attribute to it, if any?
So I would say that it's given me more energy, more momentum, more stamina. It's caused me not to be as sluggish. And then also I feel like it opened the door more to it opened the gates to more to spiritual principles, spirituality, being more connected in a way to nature. Well, obviously I'm using a frog's venom, so it's definitely connecting me directly to that frog spirit. But it's just been a whole... it's just been like an opening for me where I wanted to do more discovery about self. I wanted to know more about these medicines, these indigenous medicines that have been here for thousands of years. So I would say that it's given me different perspectives because it's introduced me to other methods of medication, natural medication, because before I was deciding to work with combo, I was on psychotropic medications. I was on psychotropic medications for almost 10 years before I started combo. up until lithium was my last psychotropic medication.
So
Lithium is fucking strong. Dude.
It is super strong. So I went cold turkey. After I did combo, I had no need for that psycho. Now I'm not, this is a disclaimer. I'm not saying throw your lithium away and combo's the answer.
No.
But what I'm saying is this is my experience, and this is how it helped me with the depression issues that I was having. It was helping me with a lot of the anxiety. And then that in collaboration with Mother Ayahuasca, I have not been on any psychotropic medications for almost 4 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you start ayahuasca first?
I started combo first.
Okay.
And then I was so just eager for more teachings, for more understanding of other types of psychoactive plants, because combo is not psychoactive. You're not going to go to the fifth dimension with combo. However, if you meditate during the process, which is really hard because you're vomiting the whole time, you can kind of get there. But I wanted to kind of just step more into a fifth dimensional type of space, you know. So combo opened the door to doing more research. I actually went to Peru. I was just crazy about it. I went by myself, and I went to Iquitos for 10 days. And I got on a flight, and I said, I'm out of here. I'm going to go to the jungle, turn my phone off. And that's what I did. And I met with the shaman down there, and I was at El Planto Refugio. That is the retreat center that I was at. Before I had, experience with mushrooms here and there, but I really did not go in as far as I did with ayahuasca, because I feel like ayahuasca is a very long journey, a very long process. And, as you've heard before, there's a spirit behind it. There's a mother spirit behind it. So I didn't know what to expect, but it was a beautiful experience. It's almost hard to put into words. A lot of it is
How did you hear? Like, how do you find somebody that you're in a fucking jungle?
How do you pick?
You're by yourself.
Who you're gonna go with?
I mean, look, there's fucking chicks getting kidnapped in the freaking middle of the daylight in Washington D.C.
In downtown LA. So
you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, like, how do you feel safe saying, yeah, fucking put this psycho drug in me in the middle of the jungle,
Let's hang out.
and I'm
And then-
solo? That's a pretty ballsy thing to do.
I felt like spirit led me there. It's funny because up until a week before I was going, I didn't think I was going to participate in the ceremony, because I booked it with another retreat center, and they said, oh, you had anxiety? Have you taken any psychotropic medications ever? And I said, oh, yeah, I was on this and that. They said, oh, well, you can't drink. And I said, well, I paid for the flight, and I paid
You
for
can't drink the
ayahuasca. Yeah, and I just thought the trip was it. That was over. They're not going to let me drink. But I was just still persistent, and I looked at another retreat center, and they're like, yeah, we'll take you.
Is it expensive?
It was about $1,100. It's not too bad
for the ayahuasca,
for the whole entire retreat, and then that comes with you're in a jungle house by yourself. It's 2 stories. Very good, delicious vegan food.
You're in a jungle house.
How long are you there? You're not there the full 10 days though.
No.
Mm-mm.
I was there. It started on Sunday, and then I went back to the city. You go back to Iquitos. I went back to the Iquitos on Saturday. Yeah.
Wait, you started on Sunday?
So
The Sunday. It was about a week.
So you were a week at this retreat.
Yeah.
Now, what are you doing at this retreat?
So you have ceremony days every other day. So you have a ceremony day. On the days that you have ceremony, you wake up, you have breakfast. You can either read a book, go outside, do whatever leisure activity of your choice. And then at 5 o'clock, because with ayahuasca, the ceremonies, they start at night, because that's when the spirit is most active. So the shamans are summoning these spirits, and they're allowing you to step into this spiritual world, and this happens at night. So they come, and the guards will come to your door and say, are you ready, miss, to go to, there's a ceremony area where everyone congregates to start the ceremony process.
So wait, you're taking ayahuasca every night?
Every other day.
Every other day.
Every
other day, because you have to have a day of like integration. So because it's so intense, because you go in so far, it's hard to kind of like process in a way. So there are people that do back-to-back. Like, I've had an ayahuasca ceremony in the U.S. It was quite different. It was nothing like the ceremonies that I've had in Peru. And the ones that I had in the U.S., they do back-to-back ceremonies. But I think it was a little too much for me. So I think I needed a day to integrate back in and come back to 3D, because I was still in the cosmos, and I had to come back.
That just sounds insanity. That sounds crazy. Like you're talking about you were in the goddamn cosmos.
Yeah.
Like people would say, okay, you need to get back on the goddamn lithium chip.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not trying to talk shit, but that just sounds so insane. And again, not shitting on it. I've always been curious about this, but when you're saying you're traveling to the so combo 20 minutes, ayahuasca, how long are you talking here?
So I want to say you drink around 8 o'clock. I was on my journey until about 7 a.m.
8 o'clock at night till 7 a.m.
It's a
12 hours pretty much.
It's almost like it's a very long, thorough experience.
Hold that thought. They come knock on your door at 5. You said, and they say, "You ready for your ceremony?" So now you come between 5:30 and 8. What's going on?
So you get there, and some people arrive late, whatnot. So you lay on these mats, and they give you your buckets because you're gonna purge. Like I was saying earlier, with medicines that you don't purge with, I mean, the herbs that are very harsh are the best type of plants you want to deal with because those are the ones that are gonna work. If it tastes like flowers and it tastes sweet, it's gonna have its benefits, but you really need a cleanse, or you really need to work with the spirit. It's gonna be bitter. So I'm not saying it was disgusting, but it wasn't the best tasting stuff. It wasn't pleasant. No.
It's a tea, right? Like a tea?
It's kind of like a tea. It's with a vine and a leaf, and I don't know I believe it's a yucca. I'm not sure of the actual name of the tree, but they mix it together and they make this brew. It's like a tea, yeah, and it's like a brown. And I can't really identify a similar taste to it. It's very bitter. Different tribes make it sweeter. It just, it's not that pleasant.
So now it's 5:30. You're chilling on your mat.
Yeah, you're chilling on your mat.
Got your bucket.
You're right. So they go through, and the shaman comes in. There's about 2 shamans. They come in. They bless you.
How many people are in there?
So I want to say the last time it was about 10 to 11 people.
Okay.
One shaman?
2 shamans.
2 shaman. Okay.
So they go through and they bless you. They get the aqua florida and they're rubbing it all over you, and they're just the tobacco. So they're burning the tobacco because tobacco is a sacred medicine.
So
it's very
similar
sacred
to Santeria then with agua florida, the tobacco.
So they're burning the tobacco everywhere. They're basically cleaning the energy space, getting you ready and prepared. So at that time, they open up.
What are you wearing at the time?
You wear white because that's an indication of purification. And from what they say, people have said that the spirit, when you do ceremonies, to wear white because spirit likes that color because it's a very pure type of color, and they work well with that.
We drink something too called chamba.
Chamba?
It's very similar to that, and it's made with all roots, but it's I call it pruno. My mom hates that because you put it in a rum bottle, but it's a bunch of sacred herbs, pieces of the actual root. There's other things in there. There's like whole peppers. There's a bunch of things in there, but it ferments. So it ferments, and that chamba can only be drank by people who are initiated in palo mayombe, which is the prenda and like supposedly like the dark side of Santeria. Yeah. And that helps you with virility if you're a man. It helps you with, but we make something similar. That's why I was like, is it like a tea? Does it get boiled?
Yeah, it gets boiled in this big metal pot, and it's fermented. The longer it sits out, the more intense, more potency that it has. So it's like a tea. It's not that pleasant though. So
they're cleansing you.
So they're cleansing you, and they're blessing the space. And then once sun sets, then they open up. So they start from the left side of the room, and then one person goes up, and they blow the tobacco smoke, and they bless the medicine. They bless the ayahuasca. Then when it's your time to go up, they'll ask you, do you want a little bit? Do you want a lot? And I said, I'll take a medium dose, because I didn't, it was my first time. I didn't know what to expect. So I had a medium dose, and they give it to you, you drink, and you lie down for about 45 minutes. So at that time, then the ayahuasca is going through your bloodstream. It's getting up to your brain. You start to feel light on your feet. Okay. And then after that, once you start to actually feel or see the visuals, because I remember my eyes were closed and it was this bright. Like I felt like there were studio lights everywhere, and I was like, but it's pitch black. So then I saw this pyramid. You will see these sacred geometry shapes. You'll see shapes everywhere. So I saw this pyramid open and this light beam down, and I was like, what's going on? You know, so it's almost like 45 minutes, you're already going in. You're already starting to sell off. So then they open up with these ikurus, which are these prayers, but they're in songs, and they're not in Spanish because, you know, Spanish is not indigenous. So they're in the indigenous language of.
Are they chanting? Almost like a mantra?
Yeah, like a mantra. Yeah. So they're basically inviting the spirit in, the mother ayahuasca spirit in. So they're doing these ikurus and they're doing these chants, and that goes on for a couple of hours. They're doing different chants for different things. You're just lying there.
Are you tired as fuck? You're
tired. I did a lot of laughing, and I think I just laugh naturally because I'm a goofball. But anytime I have psychedelics, I just start cracking up because I have a very kinder spirit. So it's almost like you go through these episodes because. The first ceremony, I was laughing so much. The second ceremony, I cried for hours. I cried different levels of like, because crying is a way to purge as well. You know, you can purge by crying. So it just all depends. Every ceremony is different. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what's going to be revealed to you, but you take it all in, all of it, the good, the bad. There were scary parts where I felt like I was kind of going in the dark end of things, and I just put the fear aside, and I kept introducing love.
Okay, when you say scary, dark, what, like, are you seeing demons? Are you seeing, what is it that's dark?
Well, the ayahuasca experience I had in the U.S., it wasn't as big. Like, the ceremony center was not as big. So I was in this very like small house with about 13 people, and there's this lady sitting next to me. She was going through something, like she had some sort of negative spirit or something that was on her, and she kept getting up and stomping her feet, and I could just see like the energy that was on her was very dark. It was almost like she was her spirit animal was a polar bear because she was like standing over me like a bear. It was intense, and it was scary.
Were your eyes closed and you can see this, or are your eyes open and you're seeing this chick hovering over?
My eyes were open.
Okay.
Usually it's better to have your eyes closed so you can go in farther, but if you want to open your eyes, it's fine. You'll come back, but you're still going to be in. You're still going to be in this fifth dimensional type of mind state. So yeah, she was hovering over me, and I saw some of the dark energy she had, and then I kept just thinking, I felt like the spirit was telling me, just worry about yourself. She's going through what she has to go through. Don't be scared, because that's one of the things I have dealt with is fear. So I felt like that was indication for me to put my fear aside, continue to introduce the love, because that's the strongest vibration, and then let her do and deal with whatever she needs to deal with. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm good. So I kind of pulled myself out of that darkness, because if you do go into dark moments with psychedelics, you can pull yourself back.
So let's say I'm at the center, I'm doing ayahuasca, right? I got over my fear of puking. I'm there. Mm-hmm. So if I start to have I'm just going to call it a trip. If I start to have a bad trip, right, to wherever I go, is that shaman going to
that shaman's going to come
to try to realign me to where I need to be?
Mm-hmm. Because that shaman's already stepping into the fifth dimension. They're already in the spirit world because they ride the fence. So they're in spirit and the physical world. So they'll just hop right in the spiritual world
and help you
navigate help you navigate to where you need to go.
So then my question is this, right? Because there's like a lot of like, everybody knows that I'm a santera who listens to us, right? And I grew up with like Palo Mayombe and all this stuff. So there's a lot of similarities.
Okay.
So then my question to you is, see, I thought ayahuasca, for some reason, I thought it was something else. The way you're explaining it to me is not what I thought. I thought that people did it to try to get over like childhood traumas and things like that, right? But
drug dependency.
But I didn't know I know people who've gone for drug dependency, but I didn't know that they consider it like a mother spirit, like so then do you feel like doing this, like ayahuasca, has opened you up spiritually to being more in tune with your own, like what's in your realm, what's in your immediate circle spiritually?
It's opened me up spiritually in a way where I can connect. I felt like there was a barrier for me, like even when I would have a hard time meditating, like I could never go into a place of peace, into that spirit like vibration, and in order to get to that frequency. I always felt that I needed maybe more mushrooms to get there. But after ayahuasca, I felt like I can get there almost instantaneously. If I close my eyes and I go and I do some breath work for 3 minutes, I'm in there.
When you say that the the experience goes for 11 hours. Are you in this hut that whole time, or do you go back to your place?
You go back to your place.
How soon after do you go back to your place? How long are you in there with the shaman?
So you're in there with the shaman, I want to say like 3.5 hours.
From the time you get there at 5 or from the time you ingest it at 8?
From the time that you ingest it at 8.
So you ingest it at 8. By midnight, you're back in your hut.
Right.
But the experience is still happening. And now you're solo in your hut. Do you fall asleep, or are you just
up all
night?
you're just I was up all night. And I was kind of scared too, because I was like, what is that noise? You know, is that a leopard outside trying to get me? I don't know. I was in the jungle and it was dark. So, and they made these little like I guess these little like wise tales that there was these little elves running around, so I was paranoid. But anywho, so you go back.
Those are called chibiriku for us. They're in the forest.
Yeah. Those guys. So I was like, oh, please don't come in here.
Come on, that's not a wise tale.
No, they're there. I believe it, but they told me it was a wise tale probably because I was staying by myself. They're like, because I was asking people, I was like, can I stay in your room?
Guys, hold on. Hold the fuck up.
I know what that is.
You're talking about little elves. Look, in Mexico, in the state of Colima, they talk about duendes, which is tiny little people, elves, or if you will. And these motherfuckers, there's a lady on YouTube talking about this fucking duende came down from the tree and raped me. You know, and tells the story.
I need to watch more YouTube because
dude, these duendes are out there just raping people. All right, now, so this is what this lady says, you know, and she's telling the story like
she believes it.
She believes it 100%. You know, she's like, I thought it was my husband that came in. You know, and started touching me, and it's like, hey man, you know, blah blah blah, yada yada yada.
I'm such a smart ass. I'm like, how tall is her husband?
Yeah,
you know, and that's the thing. Like,
and she's thinking it's
she was half asleep,
like,
half asleep. Look, at the end of the day, like, look, whatever the case may be, this lady is telling that's her truth, right? And you're sitting there like, bitch, ain't no goddamn duendes, you know, like, stop it, right? But you're saying it's a wives' tale. You're like, no, ain't no wives' tale. These little people live in the forest.
Well, it's not like,
what the fuck is that about, Thanya?
It's not like the little people from like Disney, right? So because you got to remember that all this came from indigenous people, right? And the slave trade, and so a lot of things that get translated are translated to the lamest term you can think of, right? So then, chibirikus are spirits, right? They're considered like junior spirits or little, right? But then they end up calling them duendes, like elves, because that's how they have manifested, kind of. But chibirikus are spirits that live in like the forest, in like different places that are like spirits that are doing mischievous things in those areas because they don't have like an owner, right? Like your spirit has an owner, but these spirits don't have owners. So we're taught about the chibiriku too.
Listen, let me tell you something. If I'm having a hallucinogenic experience and they tell me there's little fucking people running around, chances are I'm going to go outside and look for these little people and try to talk to them. That would just be me.
I'm not scared of things in the sense where, like, you know how people will be like, oh, if you see dead people, I'm not scared of stuff like that because I don't see them like, a
threat.
I don't see them like a threat, and I don't see them like flesh and bone peeling off. I don't see like horror movie shit, right? But those things freak me out because I feel like I've been places, especially like in Cuba, especially places that are not as urban, right? And you'll be there and I can feel something. And I've been with high priests, babalaos, and I've been like, hey, I feel weird here. And they're like, oh, the chibirikus, or there's a chibiriku. And I'm like, okay, those things freak me out. But it's more like spirits that you have to attend so they don't get in your way, so you can complete whatever mission, spiritual mission that you're on. But Colima, randomly, because I've been there, you know, Colima is the state in Mexico that has the most churches, but all those churches are built on top of Aztec ruins, right? It's like one of the states. So I don't know if that like coincides with.
Well, yeah, a lot of the churches were built on the backs of the Indian slaves,
right on top, because they wanted to show that they were
to get rid of this. This is where this is the new thing. Yeah, it's fucking bananas. But now you're tossing and turning, really.
Yeah,
right?
all night. All night.
And you're restless.
Are you like thirsty? Can you drink something? Like, I'm thirsty. I'm gonna drink water.
Yeah, and it was they turned the electricity off, so you get there and it's dark. So I'm walking around my cell phone light, but I'm almost scared to look at myself because when you're under ayahuasca, or not under, but when you drink ayahuasca, your face, like, things start to appear differently. So I didn't want to freak myself out, but. So it's completely dark. You lie down and you start to feel these sensations, and it's almost in comparison to like I
could see fear hitting a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I there was points where I was fearful, but I got on the phone and I made some phone calls. But it was so funny because I was calling all these people because I was getting so many downloads from Source. So Source was giving me all these downloads. I would call people and I'm like, hey, I know you're hurting and I know you just lost your mom, but I'm just here to tell you that she really loved you and she's thinking about you. It was almost like I was so tapped in where whatever someone was going through, I was calling back to the U.S. and they're like, how did you know that? And I'm like, oh, because I'm in the spirit world right now. That's why. So it was like,
so people are gonna think you're in the spirit world dialing your cell phone.
Yeah, they're like, right? What is wrong with you? Like, you lost your mind, you know. But then when I came back, they're like, oh my God, when you called me that night, I was in such a dark place. I really needed that, and I'm so glad that you reached out to me.
So I have a question. What nationality are you?
I'm African American and British.
And British, okay. So you said you grew up conscious, right?
Yeah,
so
I grew up conscious.
You guys like cook life and all that. Are you guys like vegan or?
We're just more like, so my dad's Muslim, and so he was like, no, just lay off the pork. But then we had my cuckoo aunt, which my dad called, which she was very into African spirituality, and we introduced healthier food options. And she had a herb store in Inglewood. It was called New Body Inglewood. So she, you know, sold bulk herbs, and she practiced Mayat and different spiritual principles, and that's how I started with my whole.
What is Mayat?
Mayat are Egyptian principles for the way of living and the way of merit and integrity, and not to say it's like the 10 Commandments, but it's kind of like, you know, principles to live by.
Well, there's 100 commandments under the
it's the 370. Okay,
for it was Mises, right? Instead of before Moses, the Egyptian person was Mises, which was the new incarnation was Moses, and they took all his principles and made them
dumbed it down, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, so then you guys were kind of open. You grew up in a pretty open household, because if it was Inglewood, like in the 90s, 80s, there was a lot of like Louis Farrakhan. There was a lot of
Nation of Islam. My dad's a part of the Nation of Islam.
Right? I've seen Farrakhan speak in Inglewood, actually.
Yeah.
So you grew up knowing about
that there was another way than being forced to go to.
Because I'm thinking you're calling people, are they like, what the fuck
Some of them were kind of like, you know, completely like, this is unorthodox, you know, why are you calling me, telling me that, you know, such and such, or like my mother-in-law at the time, she was sick, and I was telling my ex-husband, I was telling him, this is what she needs to get better. I said, you need to change your diet, you need to introduce this and that and this and that, and he did it, and she was starting to feel a lot better.
That's got to be addicting once you experience that and you tap into that, where you're just like, I want more of that.
Oh, yeah, I do. I want more, and that's why I'm going back. I'm going back in June, July. I haven't booked my flight yet because I'm waiting on these COVID restrictions and see whatever I have to do, or if I have to get vaccinated or whatever. I don't want to.
That's so funny. You don't want the vaccine.
I don't, but if I got to go,
put the frog poison on me. I'm not getting the Pfizer. Put the frog shit on me. We're ready to go.
Do you credit combo with opening you up to all this other stuff?
Yes, it was the gate opener for me.
So do you ever worry, because this is obviously not regulated, right? There's no way to
not by
regulate
the FDA.
Yeah.
No.
So do you ever worry, because I would be like, how do I know that this is like, how do they know the right amount to give you? Or do they track everybody's progress?
Yeah,
like,
there's definitely caretakers making sure, like there's practitioners that make sure that, you know, they look at how you're breathing, if you're going to faint, you know, how your vitals are looking, you know. So at first they start off with 3 dots. They don't want you
You're talking about the combo now.
The combo, yes. Mm-hmm. So I start off with 3 dots, and then my next session I advance to 4, and then now I'm probably going to do 6. So each session, it doesn't mean that if you get more dots, you'll have a stronger experience. It's just that you want to start light and progress your way up, because you don't want to go in getting 6 entry points, 6 dots, and then you're going to have like a really intense
so you
experience.
already have entry points. Would they do more, or those are the entry points?
No, they have to burn more.
They have to burn more.
Yeah, because the skin has to be open to be able to get to your.
The skin has to be open.
Yeah, it has to be able to get to into your blood system.
Okay.
So it's painful.
No, it's like a little burn. It's like kind of like an incense. You're like, it depends on what you classify as pain. Some people might like it.
The puking, I would feel like, would be more painful. And then you told me that some people defecate. And
yeah,
I'm like,
but the reward, it's like the risk and the reward. The reward of it is way better than the risk, and it's way better than 20 minutes of what you have to endure, because this medicine, once you have it, like you'll notice the lasting effects probably like a month or two after proceeding.
So do you feel like this is now your spirituality? Like
This
if
is my
people
s-
were like, what do you believe in?
I believe in God, and I believe everything God touches. So I believe in plants and plant medicines. I believe in animal medicines, and I prefer those over anything that the FDA approves. I would go to do combo any day. It's nature's vaccine over getting a Pfizer vaccine. But that's just my opinion. But I feel like
Please don't start canceling
you're
your
right.
vaccines. Please. This is just
That
her.
is just my
Rojo
opinion.
101 with our guest here, QAnon, fucking Pizzagate. They're raping the kids and drinking their blood.
No, yeah, that is way too extreme for me. But
Oh,
you know, I have my limitations.
I hear you. Okay,
So we pull the plug there.
so combo ayahuasca. Ever fucked with peyote?
I want to do a peyote ceremony. I have not been invited. With peyote
Okay.
ceremonies, you have to be invited. You can't just say, I'm just
I'm
going
just
to
gonna go wander the desert and find my own shit.
Yeah, it is very sacred.
So I didn't know that, right? Because I'm not into any kind of hallucinogenic. Like I don't do any of that to get to the spiritual level or realm. Because I was raised around.
Yeah.
So but
Yeah.
and I also don't like to not be in control. Like I'm okay with seeing dead people the way I see them.
Yeah.
If that were to go, I don't think I would enjoy it. So somebody, Anache, I read them, and then they told me that they are peyote. They do peyote ceremonies, and he was like, "I'm inviting you to come because I've heard that you don't do anything, but I think you should come." I forgot to tell you, and he was like, "Yeah, and you could bring Martin." I was like, "Martin would be totally down."
I'm in.
I was like, "Me, I don't know. I would probably take notes outside." I
Yeah,
would see
yeah.
you guys outside. Yeah, but
Oh,
it's invite, I guess. It's
It's invite. And one thing about peyote ceremonies is once you purge it, you got to pick it up off the ground and eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So you throw up, you put it right back in your mouth because it is.
So you might want to think about. I'm like,
crazy shit.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
look, and I'm not shitting on anybody's beliefs.
No,
right?
no.
That's
Yeah,
not what my
yeah.
intention. But that is pretty freaking crazy. So you haven't tried peyote. You have tried the ayahuasca, the combo, and now what else have you?
Bufo alvarez. It's the toad venom.
Bufo
Alvarez.
alvarez.
It's a 5-MeO DMT.
there's a vice on that.
Yeah.
There's a Vice
There's a Vice on
documentary
it.
on that.
Right. And you see a
Bufo
guy like shaking
Alvarez.
around and rolling around. I didn't roll, but
Start speaking in
I
tongues.
would say the difference is this. So with the Bufo experience, you go in and out in about
And you did
15
try that
minutes.
as well?
Yeah, I've had Bufo twice.
Here in
Here.
the United
Yeah, I've
States?
had it here.
Okay.
Is this shit legal, by the way?
No, it is
No,
not.
because
Okay.
it's DMT.
Right, it is,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, 15 minutes in and out. With ayahuasca, it's more of a long process. She's revealing, the spirit is revealing so much. You're seeing so many things. Your ego is just gone. Whoever you thought you were, I'm this person. I know who I am. You don't know shit. She's going to crash that whole entire of this whole conception, everything you have learned up to this point. You realize it's all
A lie.
bullshit. Yeah.
How old do you have to be to do ayahuasca in Peru?
There's kids in the jungle drinking at 16.
But they're raised with that. So let's say you want to take your kid.
Uh-huh.
And what are they going to, like, I'm going to take Nick. He's 13. Are they going to be like, no, we have 18, we have...
It just depends on the retreat center, because you see little kids, walking around and they're participating in ceremony.
No, those
And
are the
they're-
locals, though.
Those are the locals. Those are not any of the tourists. Yeah, those
Yeah,
are the
I feel-
actually indigenous people
Yeah,
that are
the
there.
indigenous,
yeah,
I feel like-
are descendants of that.
But
you
I
know?
wonder
That's
what...
different.
Yeah, I wonder what the age requirement would be to go, because what if you're with a parent who's very... Like you're
Yeah.
spiritual. And let's say, I don't know, your daughter says, I want to go. And she's under 18.
The last practitioner I was with when I did a ceremony in the U.S., that practitioner had her son drinking at 16. I believe 16, 15. I feel like, no, I'm not going to say this on air, but I feel like my son I can't wait to introduce him. Not at an early age, because it's just a lot to take in for a child.
and you're not
that's
ready
young.
at that point.
No,
I mean,
no.
like, I
Your
tried
brain
out-
is still
I was-
developing until it's like 21, 22.
Yeah, I was in
so-
high school when I tried LSD, and that was like a very traumatic experience at the time.
Yeah, it can be. It can
yeah.
be. Yeah, you don't want to go in that
psychotropics.
heavy. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I have never had LSD. I've always just trying to like stick to plant DMTs and toad DMTs. I'm just
so
terrified.
the bofo. Do you enjoy, like, out of all the so
yeah,
between
you
the bofo,
smoke it. You smoke it out of a pokey pipe.
Oh, okay.
It's like you're taking a meth hit, you know. But
Okay.
that's what I can. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Is it dry?
Yeah, it's like in a powdered form, and then you kind of.
Now we're just smoking crack.
Yeah, so kind of it's kind of like you're smoking crack, but as soon as you inhale it, you just like you're. It's hard to explain, but it's like you go somewhere else for like it's almost like you go and you're in this rocket ship and you're just launching out in the middle of nowhere and to the middle of yourself into the universe. You see yourself as energy. You don't see yourself in the physical sense. So you have no physicality to you. It's all energy. So you see yourself energetically.
So I'm going to do it, right? I call you. I'm like, okay, let's go. You know, how much is this costing me?
So combo is about $160.
Okay.
That's how much I'm paying tonight. I'm going to be doing it with my friend Scott, who owns his own business. It's called Teo T Combo. $160 for the combo. The ayahuasca, if you do in the U.S., I've come across practitioners who charge $300 per ceremony, which is kind of pricey, but it's also in the U.S., so it's
different,
risky.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Bufo is about $150.
Out of all the three, which one would you say has helped you grow and connect the most?
Ayahuasca, I still feel it. There's times where sometimes I smoke weed and I go in and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like a lingering.
Yeah, it lingers on, and you see these synchronicities. You come back to the US and you start seeing 111, 222, 333, 555 everywhere. So it's like the spirit world is talking to you, and you're like, I'm trying to decipher what you're trying to tell me. You know, you're putting the puzzle pieces together.
Do you believe that that's the spirit world talking to you when you see those combinations?
I believe everything's mathematically, everything as far as universal is mathematics. So when it comes to numbers, I feel that those could be guides, those could be angels, those could be ancestors.
So you believe in sacred geometry?
Very much so.
Okay.
Everything is set up in a way that has patterns, and it's mathematically, everything's like equations, and everything makes sense from one to the left side of the equation to the right. And it's crazy because when I had an ayahuasca experience, I saw grids. So I saw the divisions. And I was like, what is this? You know, but everything is in a grid. Everything is like squared. Everything is mathematics. And I feel like when those numbers come in, that's the spirit world connecting to me in a way. There's something that I need to know, or something that I'm not seeing.
I feel like sacred geometry, most of the people who I know who believe in sacred geometry are usually Afro-American. It's not something that Latins know anything about.
Kabbalah isn't that sacred geometry as well?
I don't.
Because they believe they see the symbols, and they see that the symbol representing some type of communication, right?
Well, sacred geometry, from what I understand, it breaks down to everything is mathematical. So they have a everything is mathematics, and it has to line up.
The Fibonacci sequence.
Think so. I'm not sure. The person who I know who practices it is Jason, my friend Jay. But I've like tried to get into it, right? One, I hate math, but I think that's so funny that you bring that up, because you can tell how like different spiritual experiences were so segregated by
race.
our race and our ethnicity. Because sacred geometry, unless you're speaking to somebody who's like spiritually aware, they're like, what are you talking about?
What is that? Yeah.
Math. What are you talking about? Everything's math, you know? But that's funny that your experience, your trip on it was through that.
Oh yeah, I saw all types of sacred geometry, and I was just like, and it was kind of like you would see like the energy bubbles, like the vibrations.
You didn't see. I have a friend who did it and says that he spoke to his mother who had passed away. Like he had an experience where he felt that she was in the room. He didn't see her, but he's like, I knew it was my mom, and he was able to let go of a lot of things he couldn't let go in life. So he had an experience with spirits,
like crossing over,
over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't feel any of that. I've always felt that I've had this shield. It's kind of crazy. When I was 10 years old, there was this guy that that was friends with my aunt, and he said, I know who your niece is, and I want to meet her. And she says, what? You've never met my niece? He said, I've met her energetically, and I was 9 years old. So he said, oh, I can't meet her because she has this protective something or another, this entity that's always protecting her. I connect it with, guardianship, angels and whatnot, but I feel like I have this protective layer. I don't know what it is. It's like I can't go that far. They can't come to me and I can't go to them.
Okay.
But I can feel their energy, their presence in a way, but I don't have actual like communication, like conversations with them where we catch up and I'm like, oh, where you been? You know,
Or
hey.
like, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, or I'm sorry about that.
My
You
bad.
know,
Okay.
you know. But I feel a very strong presence of my ancestors a lot. I feel like a lot of my ancestors are like very tribal, so I feel like that presence a lot. But I don't know about those crossover energies. I haven't felt those.
You said that you saw a pyramid during your ayahuasca
Yeah.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking about a pyramid like
Egyptian.
Egyptian.
Because those are sacred geometry. Those are built mathematically in a way to connect with the gods. That's why they built it in a certain way. So it was mathematically built. So when you are on an ayahuasca experience, you will see these geometrical shapes. You might see a spear. You might see a pyramid. You might see like a triangle. Just whatever shapes that you see, it's like for a reason.
That's what I was just about to say. So does that pyramid translate into something, into some type of meaning for your life in the here and now?
Well, you said a light came from it, right?
I felt like, because when I was in Peru, I was kind of in like a dark space and there was some things that I was dealing with. So it was almost like indication that spirit was shining this light. Like I was getting light directly from the source, and I connected with my melanin as well, because being from an African descent, you have these melanin receptors that gravitate towards the sun. So I get these energies through my melanin from the sun. So it was almost like I was getting this abundance of energy through my melanin.
I mean, not to shit on you, but I have darker skin than you.
I know.
Mela this.
He's like, I got this covered.
I'm like, you light-skinned.
Yeah, I know.
You're trying to show off your melanin.
She's like, I have it. I know.
I got it. It's there somewhere.
Well, you look Irish.
All right, yeah, that's more dominant. So yeah, the light came and it was beaming down, and I felt a sense of healing. Like I've always had a problem with my throat chakra. I've always felt like I've had so much to say, but it would never come out okay, or I would be worried about how someone would interpret it. I wouldn't speak my truth. I wouldn't set my boundaries with other people because I couldn't express myself. So after that, when that light came down, it was like I was just I was just talking and expressing myself. I came back. I was setting up boundaries. I was telling people this is what you're not going to do and this is what you can do or whatever. So it just
made a very positive experience.
Yeah, it just made like my whole sense of like, okay, this person of who I was has been so like encapsulated, so shy, so fearful, and now I'm just like, here I am.
Super life changing.
Yeah,
Right?
oh,
Because
yeah,
it changes the way you interact day to day
with other people.
Right?
Yeah, it was transformative. It was
Wow.
really transformative, and that's how I'm able to do this podcast now. Because before I would be like, I can't
don't want
talk,
to.
you know, I'm too shy.
When I met you were a whole different person.
Yeah.
Like if I not to like put you on blast or everything, but you were very meek. You were very
I was very
almost
meek.
like in a shell type of a thing.
Yeah.
Very protective, very almost hesitant about things. You're the level of confidence that you now possess. Obviously, that's your maturity. You've gotten a little older as well, so that comes with that. But it's beyond that. There's definitely a transformation that's occurred, and I can attest to that just by knowing you for the length of time that I've known you.
Yeah, it's amazing. I owe it to
Drugs,
spirituality, to the toad. Just being able to look at other perspectives and unlearning everything I learned and just cleaning my slate and being able to welcome new ideas.
And I shouldn't say drugs. These are herbs.
These are plant
healing
medicines.
herbs, plant medicines. You know,
These are sacred medicines.
Drugs have such a bad connotation, you know.
Yeah,
but when
they
you
do.
say ayahuasca, when you say those peyote, people immediately think of this like, oh, you're going to go trip, you're going to go do this, you're going to do that. But it's more of a spiritual healing from you know. And I've never experienced it.
But you will.
Yeah. And that's what I was just about to say. It's definitely not for everybody. I'm not sitting here telling everybody, you got to go fucking try this and you got to try that. It's almost like it's a calling. Like you feel led to do it. And it's just like you feel led to go into a certain church. You feel led to go into a certain study. You feel led to go into a certain discipline. This is the same thing with this. You just know this is right for me. I want this. It's there's a curiosity there that draws you to it. Again, almost like a calling. And not everybody experiences that.
No.
And you can't force it. And you can't say to people, you got to fucking try this. You cannot put it on anybody like that. It has to come from within you, because it's very much a very personal journey.
It is very personal. It's very solo too. It's not a journey that you go on with anyone else but yourself. And you have to be prepared in a way. I'm going to take that back. There's no way to prepare for this type of journey.
That's fair.
Yeah. You don't go into, you go, there's a diet that you stick to, because there's certain things that you shouldn't have before drinking. You don't want to have a bunch of fatty foods and stuff, because, Mother Ayahuasca may not like that. You don't want to wolf down a rack of pork ribs the week before, and then, because, you got to understand that everything has a spirit on it. So you want to kind of be as clean. You want to come, that's to any ceremony. You want to be clean when you come to sit with spirit.
Very interesting. I like it. I'm not going to go do it tomorrow, but very interesting.
You've definitely shed a different light on it. I think there's it's wrapped very much like Santeria. It's cloaked in so much mystery that there's so much misinformation when it comes to the sacred herbs and potions and whatnot and therapies. And again, there's a lot of like charlatans out there that just want to take advantage of you.
So make sure if you are going to drink and you are going to go to Peru, do your research. And you don't want to just go out there and not already have a retreat booked, because there's locals on the street will say, hey, you want to come and try You don't want to just go in anywhere
Stop.
and have ayahuasca, okay?
Well, it does make sense. It does make sense.
It's what they're known for, so for sure you're going to get people who are like,
exactly.
You go to Cuba and they're like, you need collares, you want to kill a chicken, let's go.
Let's go. Right. Yeah. So you want to be very careful, very cautious about that.
Got that ayahuasca, yo. Got that ayahuasca on deck.
Today?
What you need? Ayahuasca, Rolex, I got you.
Read the reviews. There's a spiritual TripAdvisor. I forgot the name of it, but it's kind of like TripAdvisor, but it's for spirituality. So if you want to go on these retreats, you can look at the reviews and whatnot. Wow. So just do your research. I did months of research. I did so much where I was like, I'm so ready for this and everything, but don't look at too many videos of too many experiences from other people, because each experience is different.
Plus, you don't want to like download
that
into
you don't want to
and
then you psych yourself out. So just go in with an open mind. That's what I can say. Go in with grace, go in with love, and acceptance.
So tonight you're doing another treatment,
another combo ceremony.
And
yes.
what makes you like say, you know what? This is the time. What leads? Is it like, again? Is it just something that just comes from you that you're like?
Yeah. Well, I've been eating sloppy. I feel like I've been having some negative energies that are in my space, and with this new moon that's upon us, I want to do some cleansing, and I want to get more centered than I am, because I haven't meditated in a while. I haven't kept up with my spiritual practices, and those are important. You can't just, I'm going to go have ayahuasca once a year and that's it. No, you have to keep on with these practices. You have to...
Because you open the portal.
Right, you open the portal. You have to continue at it. You have to eat clean. You have to meditate. You have to have that frame of mind, that peace, and still connect to the divine in a way. You have to connect more often. So I need that reconnection.
Elena, I just want to say... you've shed a lot of light, at least for me. Again, this stuff is wrapped in so much fucking mystery. Thank you.
You're welcome
for coming here and sharing
welcome.
your story.
You're welcome. No problem.
And
I'm glad to do so.
I please keep in touch. Keep me posted.
I will.
I'll definitely hit you up, because I do want to.
I'll bring you over for a combo session.
Would you say start with combo, or would you say start with something else?
Start with combo. Even with ayahuasca, they, the indigenous people, they recommend that you do combo before you do ayahuasca, because it cleans you. It's like a cleansing. So you want to be clean before you go and sit with the mother. Or they say the grandmother, but I felt like it was a mother, because she wasn't really like whooping my ass like I thought, grandma's going to whoop your ass, but mom's going to take it a little easy on you.
No, it's beautiful, and thank you for coming here to Brujo 101. and
You're welcome.
Super interesting. Thank you.
Dude,
No problem.
keep me posted. Keep
I
in
will.
touch. Fucking love you.
Love you too.
Let's
all love.
let's take some trips.
Yeah,
Let's
there's
burn
some
our
trips to
skin
be
and
had.
do some
Yeah.
toad
Are you
stuff.
down to that? Are you down for that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to think of now that you talked about it more. I won't do ayahuasca
Okay.
because no, the chibiricus. Nah, that's not for. I'm not gonna. I already know. I'm not gonna have an experience. But the frog part, the burning of the skin.
Yeah, the combo. Mm-hmm.
that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird that I'm okay with like burn my skin, but don't make me drink nothing?
Right,
damn.
right. You're like, I don't want to. Yeah. I
Yeah,
know,
for
I
some
completely-
reason I'm more like.
It's not for everyone. If you're called to, if spirit calls you, then you're called. If not, then you have other methods of getting connected.
Yeah, and I would
So-
do it more for like a reset.
Right.
I think the way that you're describing it is like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna reset. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
That's exactly
cool.
what's happening.
Martin's like next week, Thanya.
Yeah, I will.
And you send me a picture of some books that you're reading, which is with the orishas and things
Yeah.
like that. So you're dabbling in there.
I'm dabbling. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about African spirituality. Before I was such in this like Western mindset where I was just like Western spirituality, but spiritual practices come from African spirituality, and these
You
African
talking about
spirituality.
Jesus was black. Jesus was white, you motherfucker.
And he had blue
So
eyes.
right,
Look at
right,
Fucking
right.
Spreading this fake news.
Exactly. Oh, it's
This
fake news.
African Jesus. Racist.
He was only African if he had the level of melanin that she
Right,
has.
exactly. Then that melanin was very, yeah.
No, but you're right.
yeah.
A lot of, listen, it's the cradle of civilization.
Exactly, exactly, and that's how they got over to Cuba, and that's
Everywhere.
everywhere,
Haiti,
everywhere. Haiti,
everywhere.
Haitian voodoo is very. I'm learning about that as well. So it's just a lot to dive into. I mean, I have lineage of Orishas. Like I have my cousin is a daughter of Oshan. So there's the lineage is there. It's just for me to tap into it and just do more self-discovery and really tap into that ancestral bloodline of magic, of understanding of spirituality. It's powerful stuff, but it should be attend to with caution and care, because you don't want to just, summon these orishas. You don't want to work with them unless you know what you're doing. Because like I've learned, you just can't work with these deities without having proper knowledge and education, and that takes years. I mean, my cousin has been doing her research, and she's been in it for 37 years. So just be careful with some of the practices and the rituals that you do, because they can kind of get out of hand. Some of them can take you out. So it's good to have the education and the respect. Like all the medicines that I work with, it's all about respect. You want to respect these medicines. You want to respect the peoples, the indigenous cultures that bring these medicines to the U.S. or however it got here. You want to make sure you have that level of respect, because if you don't, they're going to smack you on your ass. They will.
I agree.
Very wise advice.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out here that are trying to make a quick buck, and they're administering combo, and they're administering this and these spiritual practices, and proclaiming themselves as shamans. So you want to stay away from that stuff, and you want to do what feels right, and always have respect and integrity when dealing with the medicines or dealing with anything spiritual, because spirit knows if you have the integrity or if you don't.
I agree. I always say that you have to have spiritual integrity.
That's beautiful.
You have to have spiritual integrity.
Thank you again. Thank you
You're
guys.
welcome.
Thank
Thank
you for tuning in
Thank
to
you.
another episode of Brujo 101. Leave us a rate and review, and share with anybody that's curious about any of these practices and therapies. All right. Have a wonderful day, night,
Bye,
evening,
y'all.
month, week, year,
Bye.
life.